our first hybrid event where we are streaming live and performing in person. It is our Night of Spoken Word, which is an event that we did last year fully virtual, and we're so excited to bring two of our poets back to share their work with you tonight. This is an interactive experience, even those of you that are online. I hope that you enjoy it, and make sure you send us your comments and feedback. We have two fantastic artists with us tonight. Without further ado, we have Jacques Gillette and we have Isabel Cruz. Yes.
Okay, all right. First, we humbly thank you for being here, sharing this space and time with us, and for having us be a part of this event this night. We first want to give a land acknowledgement and for our indigenous brothers and sisters, past and present, for we are all currently right now on the part of the Munsee Lenape people's land. We appreciate their sacrifice, we appreciate who they are, their heritage, and we thank you. So, are you ready?
Yes. Yes.
Well, without further ado, I first would like to introduce, as a fellow poet this evening, hailing from the birthplace of the American Industrial Revolution and a station stop on the Underground Railroad, better known as Paterson, New Jersey. Can you please give it up for the dynamic, multi-talented, courageous, and powerful Isabel Cruz.
Thank you, Jaquair. Thank you, Masquerade, for having us here. I'm going to start you guys off slow. Young and in love in the ghetto. Ah, to be young and in love in the ghetto, pining for El Dominicano 3 blocks down. Walking hand in hand to get ice pops from the bodega. I Love You was a 99-cent can of Arizona iced tea, and I Miss You was showing up on your doorstep, volleyball in hand, asking to go to the park. Ah, to be young and in love in the ghetto, sitting on a park bench with your head on his shoulder, sipping Tampico straight from the bottle as if it were honeysuckle. You talked and you played with your curls as stark daylight gave way to marmalade skies. He kissed you then, as day turned into night. And just as soon, Mommy would be yelling down the street for you to come back. He stole one last kiss as he walked you home, 4 houses away so that Papi didn't see, kissing you quickly, with lips that tasted like fresas, with lips that felt like home. He left you on your doorstep and waved goodbye. And when he reached the top of your street, he'd look back and smile. Nothing else mattered besides your black bodega bag of Arizona iced tea and loose change. Your tired legs carried you up the stairs to your room, where you dreamed fresa dreams, lulled by the heat of summer. Thank you. My next poem is The Sound of You. Silver stars were clinging to an autumn sky. Love was ours until October wandered by. Let the years come and go, I'll still feel the glow. That time cannot fade when I hear that lovely autumn serenade. Like melancholy jazz, you engulf me. Hartman has nothing on the cadence of your voice. I want to dance to your voice. My foot taps the rhythm and my heart sways along. Minor chords augmented in my mind. You are a major 6, sad and sweet, You are like warm sunlight and Coltrane, filling my ears with beautiful sound and resting on my face like a half smile. Lingering behind, taking your sweet time. You are my favorite fever dream, too good to be true, invading my waking hours. The crackling of old records and subtle bass take me to a place where I can be in your arms, where you love me for me and not just the way my body contours and my lips curve, where we dance away the hours to Nat King Cole. But as I stand here now, I stand alone. Hartman, Coltrane, and Cole are my only company. Thank you. I'll turn it over to Jay.
Oh. Oh, me? Shouldn't have. Wow. Thank you so much, Isabel. You know, speaking of ghetto love, it reminds me. You know, I was, there was this one day I was about to have me some cereal. Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Movie. And I ran out of milk. So I was like, oh, okay, I gotta go. So I had to put on a little t-shirt, my little N1 basketball shorts, and I had my chancletas on, and I went up to C-Town. And I'm on my way to C-Town. And by C-Town, before you get there, it was a bus stop. And you know how, you have people who you know around the way. You don't really know them, but you see them, you speak and everything. Well, it was one of these, around the way girls, or what LL Cool J used to call around the way girls. And I'm on my way to C-Town, and I see her, and she's on this phone, and she's just like, she's yelling, she's arguing, and then she was just like, it's over. And, and she just started crying, and I just walked up to her, and I just said, excuse me, miss, what's the reason? Tell me why. Can I please wipe the pain from your eyes? Can I enter your world of wonders? Ease your heart and your mind. Can I give you that comfort? And make you forget about the dudes who plundered, who ripped your soul from your heart? Can I uplift you? Explain to you how your body's a temple? Make you forgive the things that you've been through? Maybe it's our time for you and I to do the things that kings and queens do. Okay, it didn't really happen like that. It didn't go down like that, I'm sorry. It was more like, I was like, are you okay, miss? Are you all right? Listen. The pain is temporary. You're going to be all right. You good? No, listen, because I got to go, because I had to go get this milk. I got some Toast Crunch ready for me. I can't, And she was like, okay. And she went on the bus. I was like, good, because I got to go get, I got some cereal waiting for me, so. So yeah, it didn't happen like that. But imagine if it did though, huh? If I would, you couldn't tell me nothing that day. I'd have been on float. So yeah, it didn't really happen. It happened in the latter part, not the former. But this piece actually I want to share with you now. This is a true story. And in fact, I have not named it yet. So maybe one of you here this evening will be able to be the one to actually name it. I don't know how to ask her, and I'm really nervous. Fear consumes my heart where my courage flourishes. The dagger of rejection threatens my affection. See, we've been friends for years, but I'm scared to lose that connection. It's a problem on its own as he starts wrong, because I could have been secretly baptized in the abyss of the friend zone. But if I ask her, and it turned into a yes-filled laughter, was beginning to write a new chapter. Or is there pain in sight, written in this book of life? No okay Cupid here, he grabbed his arrows and took a flight. I remember the first time that I seen her. My heart yelled at me, go read her, go read her. Maybe it's time for me to let my guard down, let you see me for who I am as you enter my heart now. I wonder if she's a part of my destiny as I reach everyone by expressing life, and she gets what's best of me because I have more than a thing for you. Maybe one day a ring for you as it open up my heart to you. I just want to be a part of you. Yeah. So, yeah. It's all good though, we all right. You know, she's good, she's happy, and that's what's important. I was like, listen, as long as you're happy with or without me, it's good. So, yeah. Don't worry, I did cry a little bit. So yeah, did anyone have a name? Anyone? No? Me neither. So hey, you're on board. Okay. Thank you. Well, actually, without further ado, can I please bring back up?
Yeah, so we decided to do this funky little thing where we'll alternate back
Yeah.
and forth. Let our poems become its own conversation. Alright. Never dreamed you'd leave in summer. I never dreamed you'd leave in summer. I thought you would go, then come back home. Oh, I thought the cold would leave by summer, but my quiet nights will be spent alone. It plays like a scene from a Spike Lee joint. Pan out to the Coney Island wonder wheel, cue the Stevie Wonder song, close up on her. Backlit by the sunset as tears roll down her face, and she slowly moves around the wheel. Behind her, the amusement park is a colorful blur. Pan out to the other rides, the Astro Tower, the Thunderbolt, halogen letters flicker, dissolve to her. Red hues cast from the lights above rest on her face. She is pulled up towards the dark blue sky. She rides the wheel over and over and over again, reliving the pain with each revolution. Fade to black. Lights up on me. If only it were really so cathartic, so cinematic, if I could release all of my tension while whirling around the wheel, backlit by the sunset as tears roll down my face, pan out to the Coney Island wonder wheel. Oh, I never dreamed you'd leave in summer, but now I find my love is gone away. Why didn't you stay? Thank you. Let's see. Beauty Supply beat. She's got that Beauty Supply beat. 25mm lashes held on by wig glue, lips like glistening fruit juice, 99-cent starry honey gloss. Cherry flavored, never bubblegum. She's got that Beauty Supply beat, highlight on the tip of her nose, and such perfect winged eyeliner. Pythagoras is up there saying, have mercy, you know she passed geometry. She's got that Beauty Supply beat, a printed scarf in her long curls, and big old hoops, hula dancing from her ears. She's got that Beauty Supply beat, and you'll always know when she's coming because you'll smell her curl cream before you hear the pitch of her laugh. I swear she makes pyrite look 24 karat. Makes press-ons look acrylic, makes satin look silk, makes synthetic bundles look human. She's got that Beauty Supply beat, and you'll never know what hit you. Thank you.
Wow, that Beauty Supply beat. Okay. Wow, okay. You know,
I put you for a loop there, sorry.
Nah, because I think I'm like, you know. I think I have had feelings of her as well. Yeah. In fact, I remember it was, in fact, I remember being with her.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember being with her. And I remember it being like, you know, it was blood coming from my heart, eyes filled with lust. She's a drug in my veins and I could feel the rush. With a goddess-like body got me going insane. These thoughts are causing chaos up in my brain. Honey sweet skin, she's the queen of the hive. I read that she wants me as the words in her eyes. So we start touching and kissing and touching. We start in the kitchen, bodies heating like the oven. We take it to the shower and go every hour. Even in the basement at special engagements. Whew, she got me locked in cage and my heart is racing, pacing. I'm in amazement. But between me and you, she keeps me mesmerized. Because being with her, she's such an angel in disguise. And it's a pain as I lust for her love. She's sent from above. She's my queen, my heart, my girl, my love. Yeah. My time is gone by. Wow. Well, you mentioned home. And that's one of the things that I think, when we think of home, of who we are, where we come from. One of the things I know in my community in particular is that when it comes to tracing our home lineage and ancestry, many of us can only go back but so far. I was fortunate enough, so like for example, I could go back up into my great-great-grandfather, who was born in 1889 in Passaic, New Jersey. Before him, I can't go back any further. But luckily, I came across AfricanAncestry.com, and they actually helped me trace my DNA, my maternal lineage. And I found out that I shared 90% mitochondrial DNA with the Yoruba people in Nigeria, on my maternal side. And it actually inspired a poem that I encourage others, if they don't know, to find out. But also know that, it really shows more about who we are as a family. And I mean human family. So this is the piece that it had actually inspired, entitled Pride in My Roots. Let's bridge this historical connection. From Kush to the Americas, we were the exception. We ruled lands and we pushed the world's culture. From Pharaoh to Obama to Zamunda and Wakanda. Civilization's covenant is in our honor. Best way to describe us was Holocaust survivors. Though we came before Columbus and his pipe dreams, and we were dealing with a heist scheme since 1619, we've been forsaken. Though we built the nation, we built these Americas and these concentrations. Though we were taken and kidnapped into enslavement, we came from empires and tribes and nations. Like Ghana and Mali and the Igbo and Maasai, Fulani and Wolof, Kanem and Songhai, Mendiko and Mandinka, the Mendia Maninka, the Aweg and the Ashanti, Benin and Aruba, and my maternal ancestors from the land of the Yoruba. Now, without further ado, I write this letter to you. Dear world, there is no sense in hiding the truth, because I write this letter from the pride of my roots. It's a time for new hope, a time for real talk. No more black bodies outlined in chalk. The disconnection of true knowledge can further oppression. But the rise of the original family is in session. Brothers like Dr. King helping us have a dream. By any means necessary, Malcolm's main theme. Laying foundations like Kush and Kemet. Because rooted in our blood was civilization's covenant. To my ebony women, original mothers of earth. I know they still kick you to the dirt. Though your true essence may remain unseen, at the Million More movement I saw nothing but queens. And the legacy is there and it remains in your hearts. From queens like Nefertiti to Rosa L. Parks. Trailblazing in victory, children of destiny, fists raised high up to salute for equity. Because look in your souls, and it is there you see the truth. Sincerely yours, your brother, from the pride of my roots. Without further ado.
Alright, so Jaquair's talking about roots. And I'm gonna bring you to mine. I'm Puerto Rican.
Hey.
There's, yeah. Puerto Rico. there's a lot of hidden history in Puerto Rico. Puerto Rican history is not accepted as part of American history in academia, in our history textbooks. So I'm going to bring you back to the colonial history of Puerto Rico. Viva la República. Despierta borinqueños que han dado la señal. Viva Puerto Rico libre. Viva Palestina libre, two countries out of many under the iron fist of settler colonialism. As apartment buildings are leveled and children are blown to pieces, I see Viva la República. Abajo los asesinos scrawled in Cadet de Lechea's blood. I see bodies lining the streets in Ponce. I see that we are all fighting the same enemy. From Puerto Rico to Palestine, from Hawaii to Colombia, el colonialismo. Colonialism isn't something that is happening in history books. We stare it down every day. Millions dare to look that fate in the eye, and millions die. Their lives snatched away by rockets, missiles, drone strikes, white phosphorus, austerity measures, left to die in the name of the US and our allies. We have been stripped of our heritage, our lands, our homes. Liberación, liberation isn't something confined to academic discussions. For so many, it is tangible. It is life and death. Despierta borinqueños, despierta palestinos, despierta hawaianos, despierta colombianos. It is time to stand together, to amplify each other's voices, help each other heal, prioritize each other's plights. Viva la República, abajo los asesinos. Nosotros queremos la libertad, nuestros machetes nos lavarán. Vámonos, borinqueños, vámonos ya, que nos espera ansiosa, ansiosa la libertad, la libertad, la libertad, la libertad, la libertad. Alright, my next piece is Nuyorican. Nuyorican, if you don't know, is the name of Nuyorican Poets Cafe, as well as the conjugation of New York and Puerto Rican for people that were mainland Puerto Ricans. And this one is about the diaspora and all of the ways that it has been commodified and we're expected to perform a diasporican kind of identity. Nuyorican. Nothing is revolutionary about diaspora poetry. We've beaten the shit out of mangoes, spices, empanadas, tamales, palm trees, whatever symbol we use to signify whatever it is we think is missing. We write of our longing for a language we'll never know, a homeland we'll never call home. Okay, by we, I mean me. I also mean most progeny of the diaspora, but we, me, I don't focus on the novelty, the authenticity, the watching Walter Mercado with my ultra-religious abuela, or finally learning to make my own discos, long after passed-down recipes reached their half-life. I've learned to appreciate the learning process, all the things I had to put an effort in to achieve, not because it was how I was raised, but because I actually cared. My Nuyorican list no longer bothers me. Quenecas wouldn't taste any better on a tongue that was born speaking Spanish. Hector Lavoe, Willie Colon, and Ruben Blades sound even better now than when I used to cover my ears as a child. I savor the taste of arroz con gandules because I know what goes into making it. I don't need mangoes, spices, empanadas, tamales, or palm trees because nothing is missing. My Nuyorican-ness is enough. Thank you.
You know, I love that place, Nuyorican Poets Cafe, actually. That's one of my favorite, it's my poetry home, actually. That's what you said. I was like, hey! Talking about, all right. Yes. You know, Isabel, those pieces just actually inspired me to do this next piece because essentially, in the midst of, of that legacy, one word just came to me, just hearing you say that. And that was defiance. Thank you. I come before you from the world's congregation, from the souls of folks in the margins of all nations, the throwaway people, the go-away people, who you abuse and exploit, the hoe-away people, the serfs and the slaves, who work to their graves, whose blood is in the soil and the streets that they paved, whose pain you avoided with the lies you recorded, their hopes, their dreams, their lives you destroyed. You fed them the myths of things that don't exist. You said justice for all, but injustice persists. The heists and the schemes you did by any means, you surgeons of oppression and killers of the dream. But now is the time for all whom to rise. Freedom's march to the promised land, eyes on the prize. A true coalition against this prohibition on justice and equity. It all came from a decision to benefit the few at the expense of the many. From race to class, your isms are plenty. It's always been your mantra to divide and to conquer, because the fear in your heart gave birth to a monster. But all is not lost of our crops from this frost, because we can save the gardens of humanity at will and at cost. As we stare into the abyss, stare into the mist, darkest days find its hours, our power to resist. But in order to save we, it begins and ends with me, myself, and I, you, and thee. The person in the mirror, seeing things clearer. Because there's room for all of us and salvation is nearer. To all of us in this universal trust, as we march in defiance in the duty of our themes, fists raised high as all the saints sing. Power to the people by any means. I had a dream to let freedom ring. Power to the people by any means. I had a dream to let freedom ring. Power to the people by any means. I had a dream to let freedom ring. Power to the people by any means. I had a dream to let freedom ring. Power to the people by any means. I had a dream to let freedom ring. You know, there's another group of people who are in the spirit of defiance. And they're so defiant that they contribute great to our society, but yet they're so marginalized in ways that some people understand, but most people don't. In this next piece, I want to dedicate this to every single artist that is out there, of all disciplines and manners. Because this piece that I'm going to present to you is in the spirit of what it is to actually be an artist. And it is entitled Rebel for Life. Reaching everyone by expressing life, the rebel I am. Inspiring all mankind, yes I can. From man, woman, and child to child, woman, and man, the world is before us, and this is where we stand. See, we don't do this for the Oscars, Tony Emmys, or the Grammys. We're expressing life for what it is and all that it can be. Producing art that shows the beauty and the truth of humanity, because we've been imprisoned to a status quo chained to its insanity. This industry's infliction of constant repetition, projects driven by profit-making addictions. It can leave art's existence in an ALS condition. But it's time for a new mission, an ethos, a new vision, a new way of living, an artist's life apparition. You see, the culture of the game has you addicted to the fame. But we should create things that matter from our hearts and our brains. See, now is the time, for creativity is divine, to express our true nature, that of a creator. I live forever in that spirit into the last sunset, and I'm passing the night. Because I am a rebel for life. death of the artist is from the theft of the artist. Billionaires and big tech take what's left from the artist.
What do I
You got something, I know you.
Alright. So, obviously I'm a spoken word artist.
Right.
That wasn't evident. And I feel like sometimes, like, people don't take spoken word artists seriously. People don't take female spoken word artists seriously. So I have a poem. Watch out for them girls that do poetry. Watch out for them girls that do poetry. One verse and suddenly you're hooked on phonics, hanging on her every word. She'll have you stuttering, repeating yourself like anaphora. She'll become your central conceit. She'll leave you gasping for breath like onomatopoeia. She is pure poetry personified, and you'll always have to answer to her alliteration. Sometimes she'll make no sense, completely oxymoronic, and sometimes she's so dramatic she makes everything hyperbolic. Metonymy will become second nature. When you think of your heart, you'll mean her. She'll make similes out of shoestrings and shooting stars, but she'll wrap up her heart and give it to you. Tucked between metaphors, brightly colored and still beating in iambic pentameter. Let's see what else I got for you. So the other thing is I'm a student. I go to Smith College in Northampton, Massachusetts. And it's been a big adjustment from Jersey to Massachusetts. I'm one of 295 Hispanic students on campus. That's it. That's all we've got. And this is a poem about the way one of my friends were treated walking into the library. At your prestigious, historically women's institution, they called her a beaner. They called her a beaner because she dared disrupt this cocoon of whiteness, shatter the fine silks upon which your supremacy is crafted. They called her a beaner because she dared enter this bastion of white female privilege and speak Spanish. They called her a beaner in the halls of your Pride and Joy library that we are so often reminded is designed by an Asian American woman. They called her a beaner in front of the very house where Carrie Lee was turned away, in front of the very house that made Otelia Cromwell rally the troops in support of Lee. They called her a beaner on this very campus where Otelia Cromwell was not allowed to live. They called her a beaner because they could. They called her a beaner, but then they're shaking their narrow asses to gasolina. They called her a beaner because they knew they could get away with it. They called her a beaner because they saw violent protesters get away with worse, with not so much as an apology to the students affected. They called her a beaner because calling her a diversity quota wasn't turning the knife in deep enough. They called her a beaner because she doesn't fit into their aesthetics of the perfect white, skinny Smithy who dances topless while students cower in their dorms. They called her a beaner because they're small, and they feel themselves becoming smaller and smaller. They called her a beaner because they can't understand how someone so different from them can deserve to be here too. They called her a beaner because diversity and inclusion sessions do jack shit when it comes to educating them, because you have to have already drank the Kool-Aid to feel anything. They called her a beaner, and my only question is, Smith College, what are you going to do about it?
I feel like you wrote that yesterday.
It is new.
Yeah, that's what I felt like that was, wow, okay, wow. You know, your first piece in this last session, actually, it reminded me of, it's about being, that's inspirational. That's about being inspired, especially, within the contributions that, women who I consider to be the creators of civilization have given us. And actually has me thinking about some of the things that inspire me. So I think I'm going to share actually some of that stuff. In this piece entitled actually The Inspiration.
Go ahead.
All right. Inspired by Rabbi Isa, as I adventure the world and express my Mona Lisa, see, I've been broken up, broken down, and looking for a breakthrough. Imprisoned by the fictions of man, I need an escape. See, I've been railroading this underground, all of participation, for the proclamation of mind emancipation. See, man is as he thinketh, if you thinketh as you are. Mind over matter, but my matter is from the stars. And I'm a divine benefactor, an astronomical actor, a poetic predator in my wordsmithing endeavors. In my artistic arsenal, I'm shooting for the impossible, because my neurons are unlimited and my life force is unstoppable. My life's objection is to beyond this dimension, because I'm looking to define limitless extension. See, when it's all said, I just want to be, because my life mission is cosmic deep. It's to live forever and die free. You know, and with your latter piece about Smith College, I'm not going in on Smith, I'm not going in, but it actually, within our conversation we was having, you know, because you've been experiencing this during the pandemic. And I cannot even imagine, you know, being in school at this time, you know, and just real briefly, I just, you know, for all those, I just wanted just a quick moment of silence for all those who have been lost, you know, not just here in the States, but worldwide due to this pandemic. Even though I wasn't in school, this experience actually I wrote when we were all in lockdown. And I was examining everything, seeing everything, which is why this next piece I'm going to share with you is actually entitled The Pandemic Report. Behold, now the truth is unfolded. We see the degrees of the disparities of the truths we told. We get the worst of the flu when the nation gets a cold. I know. He's playing the race card next. But you don't want to talk about how it got in the deck. Who shuffled the cards and who rigged the bets. Who said the game is checkers, but it really is chess, I guess. It's the drug of deception, injected into the veins during this nation's inception. A fiend to the myth of the American exception, because it's the indifference to suffering and inequity connection. Wait, pause. I forgot about the law. It can't uphold white supremacy for the plutocrats' cause, and indenturing workers to corporate pacts of applause. Is it to serve and protect certain lives and not all? Well, hold still, because this is our David Walker's appeal. We vote against policies that make justice unreal, facing the realities of what crisis reveals. Multiple pandemics, one viral and three systemic. There's no quick cures, but we want the anesthetics. Our situation is ER, but we are the paramedics. And it's in the foundation that bases the academics. It's in the fabric and chemistries of institutions and industries, because it's been bona fide bigotry and social political symmetry. Bona fide bigotry and social political symmetry. Bona fide bigotry and social political symmetry. But the remedies for these cancers is not the for-profit answers. No symbolic measures, no kneeling, no half gestures. Revolutionary policies like a social democracy, with long-term investments at the expense of a plutocracy, all against corruption and obstruction. The real need is a new American reconstruction.
Alright, so we're talking about systemic issues, and there's a lot of them. So,
No.
so something that this made me think about is the immigration crisis. And there's going to continue to be an immigration crisis with wars in the global south. Let's even talk about Ukraine and Russia. Climate change. All of these things are going to start bringing immigrants because they're going to have nowhere to go. They're assuming that parts of Africa will be uninhabitable in the next 100 years. So this is motherly love. Hush now, my baby, be still, love, don't cry. Sleep as you're rocked by the stream. Sleep and remember my last lullaby. I'll be there when you dream. Just think of what a mother would do for her child, how Yocheved laid baby Moses down in a wicker basket and let him float down the Nile so that he might have a better life, a chance at survival free of persecution, how Mary took newborn Jesus and fled into Egypt to escape Herod's clutches and the reach of his retribution so that the baby would live. Just think of what a mother would do for her child, and now try to understand the mothers that flee across borders, babies in tow, traversing miles of desert or stretches of water with nothing but what they can carry, searching for a better life. Their chance at survival free of persecution. Think of the desperation of Yocheved and Mary and thousands of refugee mothers across the world. Think of that the next time you close your borders. Think of that the next time you tell a ship they must turn around and go back. Think of Yocheved and Moses in camps in Greece, freezing in the freshly fallen snow, or trapped between a closed border and a militia closing in. Think of Mary and Joseph and Jesus separated in cages or face down in the Rio Grande. River, oh river, flow gently for me. Such precious cargo you bear. Do you know somewhere he can live free? River, deliver him there. Thank you. Alright, so my next piece, I don't know how, was really written pre-pandemic, but I feel like this piece I might have to expand, because there are a lot of things that I don't know how people don't care about now. So, I mean, every time I go back to this poem, I'm like, maybe I should add a part about this crisis that people don't care about. So, I don't know how. I don't know how to explain to you that you should care about other people. I don't know how you are not weeping for the children separated from their parents that cry alone at night in cages, that are so traumatized they don't even recognize their own parents. I don't know how you do not weep for the children who will never come home because someone walked into their homeroom with an AR-15. I don't know how you do not weep for the parents who had to bury their kindergartners, children whose lives were over before they had even really begun. I don't know how you can say that there's no way to stop this. I don't know how you weren't afraid when someone was sending mail-order bombs to people they didn't agree with politically. I don't know how you do not care about the millions of impoverished and elderly thrown off of healthcare. I don't know how you can turn a blind eye to 8 black churchgoers stores shot in Charleston, 11 Jewish worshippers killed in Pittsburgh, 2 elderly black people shot in cold blood at Kroger's, Donye Jones, a young black man lynched in Ferguson, 15,000 people detained by ICE per day. Heather Heyer run over by an alt-right protester. Mike Brown, Trayvon Martin, Sandra Bland, Alton Sterling, Eric Garner, Tamir Rice, Freddie Gray, and the countless others who were victims of police brutality. I don't know how to explain to you the concept of basic human empathy, that you should care about other people, even when they don't look like you, or worship like you, or speak like you, or think like you, or hail from the same country as you, black, white, and brown, Muslim, Jewish, or Christian. How can you sleep at night knowing your fellow Americans are under attack? How can you sleep at night knowing that your fellow human beings are under attack? I don't know how.
Me neither, actually. Wow. One thing, just thinking about just the great work that's just coming out of Isabel. A lot of, especially those systemic issues, they tend to have a footing as being, of economics and economic problems, economic issues, which all, plays into it. And actually, it reminds me of this. Look, this is a piece I wrote. Yeah, that reminded me. Yeah. It's a piece I've written, actually, that talks about that because, I think that, especially I think not only us as human beings are creatives, but, what we have now, our systems, our institutions, and everything that we conduct and operate our lives in, it's not the final thing. It's not the last frontier. I believe that, we can build things better institutions, better systemic structures, and better economic structures in particular. Like, I don't believe in utopia, but I believe a better world is possible. And in fact, that belief inspired me to write this piece entitled, and this is just based on, before I get you title, this is based on actually just my thoughts, my ideas, and inspired from writings I have read from scholars and even economists and people in the environmental movement and people in global sustainability, but also in all different forms of economics. So it inspired this piece here that is aptly entitled Powernomic Democracy. Better ways to build wealth, to live forever and die free. Spiritually, physically, mentally, and economically. Now I'm gonna break that one down properly. Changing your frame. Going from knowledge to a wise dome, I mean changing your brain. To a greater understanding of how to build wealth. Build it for the family, community, and self. Collective participation for true powernomics. Being a prosumer with democracy and economics. Controlling your own materials and cultures. In the robbery of your capital from the claws of these vultures. You don't have to go at it alone. Don't be alone. Everybody can't be a boss, but they can be an owner. Ownership in the assets in which your lives depend on. Stocks in the companies whose products you spend on. Settling the scores with new business accords. Unionized labor co-chairing the boards. Workers' cooperatives, no plantation operatives or systems. No more dead peasant victims. See, this economy abandons us, subjects and strands us. So let's buy back the blocks with community land trusts. Community gardens and community farms. Food to the people to fix community harms. Let's explore UBI to level the inequities as long-term investments, not short-term discrepancies. Let's create family clubs of investments. And that could be one of the ways for reparations assessments. But for all lanes of wealth, we must protect what life needs. Global sustainability, rejuvenation of seeds. Not for corporate greed, but for life itself to succeed. Because there's room for all of us. And all of us can achieve wealth. Speaking of community farms, I'm actually a part of a community farm in my hometown, actually. It's actually called Green Acre Community Garden. And that's actually one of the things that we do. We are a nonprofit entity, and we grow and harvest food, and we have a bi-weekly farm stand, and we literally, we harvest the food, we bag it, and we give it out to the community. And we accept whatever donation they can, but even if they can't give a donation, they get a bag of groceries anyway. Fresh, organic groceries, you name it, collard greens, corn, tomatoes, yes. We do all of that. We do all of it. So that's why I also in part had to throw that in there. It's only right. And that's part of actually, even with all the issues that, even some that we have discussed and even ones that we all dealing with personally, I think that it's also, we have to remember that there's so much in us as, as a species, as people on this planet, which is all of our home. I know there's, we got people who go up to space and all that, which, okay, that's cool, but, last I checked, Mars, you can't breathe. You can't. I mean, I think what's up there? What Matt Damon's like shit potatoes. I think that's the only thing that's up there right now. So, this is home. But like Mars and many of the other planets and constellations, the ingredients of their very existence is inside of all of us. So, all the things that we're going through, we must never forget the big picture, who we are, and who we can be. Look into the windows of my soul. You see the big picture. From the book of Eli, my life is the full scripture. The idea I represent is so righteous yet scandalous, because part of being a rebel is being a verbal vandalist. A universal type from a universal life, as the universal creator gave us universal light. For greater understanding, through this journey of man, and with the arts and the sciences, it can be an age of wonder and alliances. Children of the cosmos, as we express our Picassos, as we embody a universe, our creations are colossal. Recognizing that this power is innate. From this glass prison we escape using the power to create. But make no mistake, because the world is at stake, and we need the audacity to inject our path of capacity to cure this catastrophe. It's all for one and it's one for all, because we are universally connected as the universe is in us all. We can live forever as we manifest into infinity, because we are the carriers and the crucibles of everything that was, everything that is, and everything that ever will be.
Said about verbal vandalism brings me back to Smith College. I promise I like it there. I promise I like it.
You sure?
But I'm going to tell you guys a story. So this is my first year on campus, right? Because we had a global pandemic that shut everything down. So even though I'm a sophomore, about to be a second semester junior, it's like my first year. And I applied to this advanced poetry workshop, and I was so excited, because there was this published poet who was going to be, writing, working with us and teaching this class, It was gonna be great. And then I submitted my first poem for workshop, and she allowed the class to tear it apart on cultural bases, not about, not about syntax or simile. They were like, what does Walter Mercado have to do with anything? And it was actually the Nuyorican poem. So, since I'm a verbal evangelist, the way I take up space, the way that I make myself known as one of the 295 Hispanic students on campus is through poetry. And this is my response to that incident. When the white gaze breathes down your neck, tell it to back the fuck up and sit the fuck down. When the white gaze breathes down your neck, tell it that it is not your audience, that this is by Puerto Ricans, for Puerto Ricans, and if it doesn't like that, it can get fucked. When the white gaze breathes down your neck, tell it that you don't care about sonnets because sonically you come from a tradition that is spoken, that is danced. You come from a tradition where line breaks are punctuated by the sound of drums and ostinato of island noise is the current under your craft. You are not moved by high body lyricism. You want lowbrow, Sal del Mar. You are Frank O'Hara if he grew up Boricua. Call that having a manta with you. You want shit that only Deborah from the Boogie Down Bronx will understand. You want to hold the diaspora and all of its different pieces in these words. You want equal part salt and synecdoche, equal part merengue and metaphor. What are quatrains without quenepas? You don't want the Western canon to beat the bomba y plena out of your stanzas and make your feet forget the rhythm that you were born to dance. When the white gaze breathes down your neck, say the name Pirito Mas, Julia de Burgos, Willie Perdomo, even Imagism's favorite son, William Carlos Williams. Say the name Nuyorican Poets Cafe and let them languish in the vastness of our tradition. When the white gaze breathes down your neck, code switch. Tell them that mala hierba nunca muere and that you are the baddest grass of all. Tell it que no me jodes, que no me hagas burla, no me engañes. Say it with the same still in your voice as grandma making papas fritas en la cocina. Don't translate it for them. Let them figure it out their goddamn self. And when the white gaze breathes down your neck, make yourself seen. In all your beautiful diasporican glory, unwilling to concede to their conventions. Thank you.
I was like, yes, okay. All right, well, this last piece I want to share with you all, in the spirit and vein of, this evening, with all our, we all have out there, and everything that, we go through as individuals, we go through as community, we go through as society, with all said problems and said issues of everything, one fact remains clear, and that is, we are the solution to all. And that's what this last piece I'm going to share with you is absolutely entitled. If I'm not the key, then I'm the heart of my city. Trailblazing through streets where the mind culture is gritty. Savage apparatus, political malpractice, chasing that money just to reach that status. Money empower us, but love should empower us. Don't make it rain in the club. Glory should shower us, because hate will hire us. Peace will acquire us. Greed will pride us. Freedom relies on us. Well, it's freedom or jail. Because we've been the victims of a corporate political cell rotten to hell. But if it's freedom time, ring the Liberty Bell. Full focus, full scope. Misknowledge, no hope. Brothers and sisters dying in this society. Hung by a rope. So what's the solution to the psychological prostitution? Brothers dying from senseless violence and street wars or by forces of the law or over powder and rocks. our brothers and sisters in Africa, Asia, and Latin America slaving for warlords, dictators, cartels, corporations, and mines and sweatshops. It's like hawkers and vultures. It's a continuous exploitation of the Afro-Asian and Latin cultures. Home of the brave, land taken from the natives was built on the backs of slaves from cradle to grave, institutionalized inequality and still tell us how to behave. And then you got the European and African atrocities, ethnocide, menticide, democracy, hypocrisies, genocide, suicide, corporation monopolies, government settling in, dispossession, killing women, children, and kin, using scientists, anthropologists, social scientists, sociologists, and using soil scientists and foresters as a deforest and all our forests, biologists being used as psychologists, geologists, all being used by economists. But what time it is, it's time to wake up and stop all of this violence. This animosity, bellicosity, and ferocity. I'm also locked in this cell, but it's not stopping me because I believe we could be who we want and what we dream. I say this to all congregations, to every single soul and to every single nation. Imagine what we could be if we raised all of humanity. Because it's one life, one love, one truth. One family. Thank you.
Thank you to our wonderful poets. For those of you that are online, I hope you're applauding over there because this was an awesome, awesome night.
I didn't like boo.
So I also want to take a second to say, if you were inspired tonight, Jacques Weir has a wonderful book that's available, Defiance and Desperation. Defiance and Desperation. You can get it on Amazon. It's available on ebooks. For those of you that are here, there's a link outside. I hope you will support this wonderful artist. And I know we've got a book coming from Miss Dawson. So we'll support that too.
Make it, baby.
Yes.
Make it.
So thank you all for being a part of Masquerade Theater. Thank you for being a part of Native Spoken Word. Having artists like this is what we're all about. So I feel uplifted. I feel uplifted.
Thank you.